I gotta tell somebody that my God is almighty. I gotta tell somebody that my God is almighty. I feel good tonight, y'all. Good God Almighty. Good God Almighty. Good God Almighty. I gotta tell somebody, y'all. It's Thursday, y'all. Hero training. Listen. This morning, love in my eyes, I knew it was time for me to rise and go and get it, cause my family's depending on me. Long as we got each other, my God is all. Good God Almighty. I'm gonna go hard till I can't go no more. I'm gonna let the God be show. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's hero training. Words to grow on. Well, we know each one teach one. Each one reach one. If you are that one, you got to know that you are enough. You, one of the ones that's going to fight the good fight. I'm talking about when everything wrong, you one of the ones that we all can depend on to get things right. Welcome to the Hub. We'll have a powerful deep show tonight. Powerful deep show tonight. Want to give a shout out, man, to my executive producer. It's also my wardrobe coordinator. My beautiful, loving wife, Lakeisha. I start off by hooking up the cables, man. She keep me grounded. She's also my set producer. She keep me grounded. She a major part of what I got to give. So I say, baby, what I'm wearing tonight? She said, you going with that green and that khaki. I said, what that mean? And she decided to get deep, you know. She's the wardrobe coordinator. She said, well, you know, this is the first week of fall. So we're starting to see a lot of the leaves turn brown. And they falling upon the green ground. And she said, you get real deep about this fall season. So I want you to represent it tonight in a real way of understanding. To give these heroes something to fall on. And get back up. So this one's for you, baby. Boom. Boom. Want to give a shout out to the greatest co-host in this here world and the middle world. I'm talking about my home girl. Alexa. Alexa, what's up?
I'm in awe. As part of celebrations for Hispanic Heritage Month, I've been researching amazing Hispanic people who've made a huge difference across the globe. To hear more, just ask me, who inspires you?
See, I asked her what's up. She been on some research type of thing. That's why she my co-host. That's why she know what she talking about when she talk. See that? I just say, what's up? She said she been on some research. She researching the Spaniards. Well, now let me ask her this thing. Alexa, tell me something good.
We all we got. We all we need.
Yeah, they let me know she focused. And so when she truthful about what she up to, and then she truthful about letting me know she focused, see, now I mean this when I say this to her. Alexa, I love you.
Thanks for saying I love you. You're just as sweet as pie. No know that I'll be here for you.
What?
As always, your trusty AI.
Boom! She mine. We like to start off every show with a hero hymn. The hero hymn is the mighty wind, the mighty spirit. See, we know that wind and spirit is the same thing, and wind and spirit is breath. There's two parts to the breath that's called breathing. Inhale, exhale. As I take in the mighty wind, as I take in the mighty spirit, and it goes through my respiratory system and comes out in the form of an exhale and passes through my vocal cords. It causes a vibration that we know is sound. When that sound enters your ear hole and you feel me just as much as you hear me, in that feeling, we connect in the hero spirit. The hero hymn says, I've been high and I've been low. I've been through some things before. Oh, yes, I have. I done been high and I done been low. I done saw some crazy things in my life before. I've saw people going through storms, something like Katrina. I had a friend, he had a baby girl, and he named her Sabrina. Now, Sabrina is grown, but Sabrina is hooked on dope. My friend stressed out and crying, trying to wonder where he went wrong. He's sending prayers to the Lord, saying, please send Sabrina home. But I tell my friend, I say, my brother, you ain't went wrong. It's the ways of the world, man. These children are being misled. They full of all the bullshit that they've been fed. So because of this, it makes my heart get filled with anger. Got me feeling like I'm a stranger because I'm the last man left that seemed to be living for something. But I never give up. So I've been high and I've been low. I done saw some things in my life before. Yeah, that's the hero hymn. Tonight's word, man, is a deep word to me. It's a word that I have chewed on for years. And every time I chew on this word, I always swallow more and more and more understanding in depth about the point of it all. Tonight's word is myth. Alexa, what is the meaning of myth?
Myth is usually defined as a traditional or legendary story, usually concerning some being or hero or event, with or without a determinable basis of fact or a natural explanation, especially one that is concerned with deities or demigods and explains some practice, rite, or phenomenon of nature. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for myth.
So myth, the story, the allegory, the folklore, the parables that's put together and told to teach the phenomenon of principles about some of the things that's unexplained. Most myths are about heroes. So as you can see, we are here in hero training. So the myths that we hold in our minds creates the ideas of our heroes and supernatural beings that we desire to be. Oh, the word myth means so much to me. Alexa, what is the meaning of mythology?
Mythology is usually defined as a body of myths, as that of a particular people or that relating to a particular person. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for mythology.
A body of myths that's put together for a particular group or a particular person. What are the myths that have been put together for us? Stories to truly understand the principles of life, the principles of morality, the principles of nature, the principles of how it works. What are the stories that control our ideas and our imaginations? Do we understand how important the myths that we tell ourselves and each other make in our life? Alexa, what is the purpose of mythology?
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
Oh, God, I'm going to ask her one more time. She said, "You're getting too deep, Trav," but I can trust her. Alexa, what is the purpose of mythology?
I don't know that one.
Well, the purpose of mythology, that's why, look, I love this so much, and I love honesty. So that's why in the beginning, when she says she loved me, and she says she my trusted AI. So you must understand that AI stands for artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. That means that it's not real. It's programmed and made by men. So when she understands her position and she says, "I don't know," here comes the real intelligence to say the purpose of mythology, which is a group of stories of myth. It's put together for a civilization to explain the phenomenon of the supernatural or the nature of, in a way of a folklore, to teach it throughout history, to understand culture. There's ancient mythologies that we still thrive in today. We've created our own modern myths that we strive in today. One of the most powerful myths that we all can relate to in one sense or another is the Santa Claus myth. And don't make this about being good or bad. Don't make this about being right or wrong. Don't make this about being woke or not woke. This is real life. Do you understand how it works? Do you understand the point of it all? Because if you don't, that may be a part of the equation of your reality. So one of the myths that we all know is the myth of Santa Claus. And we know that Santa Claus is a myth because we know it's associated with children. And we know it's associated with Christmas morning, with gifts. And through the American tradition of Christmas, we tell our children this myth with good intentions of love, to create a stigma of surprise and joy and suspicion within our children. And we put principles within the myth to say that if you behave yourself right, if you are respectful, Santa Claus will be good to you. Our children began to understand the principles of the myth, to understand that it's associated with joy. It's associated with due diligence of what you deserve. We take them in real life to go to the malls, to get into the experience, to see Santa Claus, to bring some truth to the myth. Alexa, what is the synopsis of Santa Claus?
Santa Claus, the movie, is a 1985 adventure movie starring Dudley Moore, John Lithgow, and David Huddleston. The legend of Santa Claus is put in jeopardy when an unscrupulous toy manufacturer attempts to take over Christmas. It is 1 hour and 47 minutes long. The movie has a rating of 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb based on around 15,000 votes and is rated PG.
Alexa, give me a synopsis of the myth of Santa Claus.
Here is an answer from an Alexa Answers contributor that I translated. The myth of Santa Claus stems from the legend of Saint Nicholas, who lived in the 4th century, which is traditionally celebrated on December 6th. According to tradition, Saint Nicholas gave a dowry to 3 poor girls so that they could marry instead of prostitution and saved 3 children.
Alexa on one tonight. But from somewhere, that's what somebody said and they myth. So you can create the myth however you want it to be, if that's what Alexa gonna say. See, we live. But the point is, the myth has a purpose. We all know that this ain't true, but the principles as a parent, within the purpose of telling our child this, that's how we justify to tell it to our children. See, the myths are made to teach children through stories. Alexa, give me a synopsis of the story, The Three Little Pigs. This is a myth.
The Three Little Pig is a classic tale about 3 pigs who decide to build their homes. One pig builds a house with straw, another with sticks, and the last with bricks. When a crafty wolf blows down the straw and stick houses, the pigs escape unharmed. The wolf then chases the pigs to their brother's brick house. The brick house withstands the wolf's blows, and the pigs live happily ever after.
See, that's a myth that we've all been cultivated on. But that myth has a point. That myth point is your house is symbolic to your foundation. When the big bad wolf come and huff and puff and blow, if your house is made of sticks, it will surely not survive the wind. But if it is made of brick, you will endure your storm to the end. See, we teach our children this from kindergarten. Our children go to school from 5 years old to 17 years old. Their mind is cultivated through stories, through myths, through literature, to cultivate their mind, to be able to comprehend the point of life. Now, this is a real deep word to me, and I kind of struggle with if I want to use this word because this is something deep. This past week, man, I got in a conversation with my brothers and his brothers. And they talk about a lot of things about dealing with religion. And they talk about principles of life. And I want to note and add that these are some very prestige, powerful brothers, a group of heroes. And I admire this so much in my brother in his fellowship with these men because they're like a therapy to each other. So a lot of times when they get in there talking about religion, of how a lot of brothers do in these days, we debate about what is and what ain't. Because there's a thing happening in the world today where the revelation is becoming real. The truth is being revealed. Understanding is being revealed that has never been understood before. So I got in this here conversation. And I got to talking and it got to feeling good. And I was trying to make a point with these brothers. But their emotions are tied into one story so much that they couldn't get the point. And the more and more I dug deeper and deeper to try to make the point, they fought more and more through their emotions of this mythology. And the more and more I dug, the more and more I made it simple and pure. They say a truth is so simple that a child can understand it. So when there's confusion, a true teacher will simplify it to give it to a child. Old man told me, if you can't explain it to a child or an older person in our lifetime that can't read and write and make them understand it, not because what you're saying, but what your soul is giving them, then you don't know what you're talking about. So when I speak to brothers who speak through their emotions because they are mentally and spiritually and emotionally tied to a story that they can't see the point, oh, I dig deep and I teach. So I got to thinking about mythology, man. And I started chewing on it to see how it's real. So as I'm chewing on this for a day, I'm in CVS yesterday. And I'm watching an elderly man walk into the mini clinic. And all he know is he feel bad and he want to make an appointment. But the mini clinic in the CVS is operated by self-monitor type machine. So there was another older lady there. She said, nobody's here to help you? He said, no, ma'am. She said, do you have a granddaughter? He said, yeah, I got several grandchildren. She said, well, you need to get one of them to come help you so you can work through this technology because things ain't like they used to be. And technology now is a must. We got to learn how to do this. We older. So I'm just sitting back kicking it and listening at this. And the first thing that came to my mind was Terminator. See, this is a myth. See, the movies that we watch are myths. They're stories talking about a particular point that started off in the form of writing, that transpired into television. And when it transpired into television, it told us what to see and how to see. But if you understand what myths are, how they are created, you see the point of what they're telling you beyond what they're telling you to see. That's called comprehension. So as I'm watching these two older people talk, and the one older lady telling the older man that this is a new world, and if you don't have a grandchild or love to guide you through this new world, I don't know what to tell you, old man. You in trouble. But because I got a heart and my granddaughter here with me, we gonna help you out. I say, wow. Wow. I say, look at that love. Look at that power. So I got to thinking about Terminator. Talking about a myth. We know Terminator ain't real. We all watched the Terminator movie. We know that the main character was John Connor. See, I'm going to show you how my people are so emotionally tied into a myth that we don't get the point of the myth, but the point is outside of that myth and in every myth. And if you understand any hero story, you'll realize that it is a myth about something that's very powerful that's inside of you. But if you don't understand the point, you look outward for it, you don't look inward for it, and you're still a child looking up at the person who's talking to the children, telling them the story. So that's why this hero training is really about. When you truly get it and you got it, you unfit to sit before anyone like a child. You stand before your peers as brothers and sisters who fight the fight amongst each other. So when I'm thinking about the Terminator, that is about John Connor. And we know that the initials of John Connor is JC. I'm going to give Alexa a chance to come back and make herself real. Alexa, give me a synopsis of the Transformer movie.
Transformer is a 2017 documentary film starring Janae Marie Kruzhelewski. In the summer of 2015, former U.S. Marine and world record weightlifter Matt Kroc Kruzhelewski was publicly outed as
Alexa
being
off tonight. Stop, Alexa. Stop, Alexa. That's why this real intelligence got the key to eat. They say if you stay ready, you ain't got to be ready. It's about a woman named Sarah who was going to give birth to her son, John Carter, who would be born to come and stop the cyborgs from taking over the world. So the Terminator went back to 1984 to stop Sarah from having the son, John Connor. Because him being born, he would be the one coming back into this here world to save humanity. John Connor is JC. Look at how they're writing the myth. Do you understand what it's about? The cyborgs would take over the world, and the world would end as we know it in 2029. It's 2023. Sound like prophecy in the Terminator, don't it? Because this is a Jesus story. John Connor would be born to save humanity. JC was coming back. The Terminator went back to protect Sarah so she could have the baby. Now his mama name was Sarah. We know that John Connor equals Jesus Christ. So we already know how that's tied to one story. Well, who was Sarah? Sarah was Abraham's wife. That would have been Jesus' great-great-great-grandmother. The lineage. See what this story is about. As I'm watching these old people in CVS, I'm thinking about how we have a narrative that artificial intelligence is taking our jobs. Everybody's fearing technology. This man was sick, needing a doctor, and a doctor was a doorway away, but he did not have access to the doctor because there was a barrier of technology between this old man. And there's nothing this old man could have done but be saved by someone who's familiar with the new buts of artificial intelligence. There's no more receptions at the doctor. You check in online. Woe to the man or the woman who's in dire need to only meet a kiosk. Oh, the Terminator is here. Oh, when you look at the atrocities that they say, is Jesus coming back? Oh, he need to come back. Oh, the world is over. Oh, we got the young girls in the school saying my booty hole is brown and my pussy hole is pink. Oh, it's time to come back to save humanity. Oh, the bots. Oh, this is in the movie Terminator. Do you understand, or have you ever understood what the point of that movie was about? And if you don't understand the point of what that movie is really about in showing you, then I question, do you understand the point of any myth? Because if you don't understand the point, you're just sitting Indian style like a child, looking up at someone, wanting them to tell you a story. And we must elevate. We must elevate to become adults in our mind of understanding. We must elevate. The world ain't coming to an end. That old man represents a generation. That generation that old man represents will soon die off. There's children being born every day to push humanity, the culture, to push the myths further and further and further. The myths will evolve the same way that they have evolved over thousands of years. But if you ain't never understood the point of it all, you have not evolved in the mind. I remember years ago, I was talking to 4 old men who was in their 80s. And I asked them, do they remember when Superman came out? A very powerful myth that we all love and is familiar with. And they say, yeah, I remember when it came out. They say when Superman came out, I remember. I was a little boy. I say, tell me about when he came out. They started laughing. They say, when he first, well, I remember when it came out on comic books, but you know, we couldn't get no comic books. That was the white people thing. They was reading about it before we could. But when we finally saw it on TV, he ran behind a rock and he come out like Superman. And he said, let me tell you another thing. He couldn't fly neither. He said, in our story of Superman, he could leap a tall building with a single bound. He couldn't fly. He ran out behind a rock and he could jump high. And they show how he was so strong, he could break 2 rocks. And in their mind and in their level of imagination, that was a Superman. But as technology and life evolve, so does the myth. Now, when we tell the story of Superman, he can fly. He can shoot fire from his eye. He can blow wind and turn you cold. The 2023 Superman can fly out this world, all the way to his other world, come back. See, the myth evolves, but the point remains the same. And when you understand the point and you're teaching children and you're cultivating their mind, you teach them the point of the story so that they don't get particularly tied in the emotions of the story. Because when you particularly tied into the emotions of the story, you don't have understanding as a man. You're sitting before a man as his child. So that's what this heroism is really all about. I use the stories of heroes. I use the mythology of heroes. Within the Superman myth, we know that Superman has a kryptonite. That's his weakness. We know that every man has weakness. But is every man sincere enough to look inside his own soul to know what his kryptonite is? Because if you don't know what your kryptonite is, I'll put it beside you and beat your ass. So do you get the point of that in the myth? See how that works? One of the myths that taught me about the spirit of unconditional love that they talk about in the GC, in the JC, was the story of the Green Mile. A mighty strong man who found 2 little baby girls who had been nigh mutilated in the woods. He walked upon them and saw them suffering. So he picked up these little girls with the attempt to pull their suffering out of their bodies. But their suffering was so deep that he gave it all he had and he couldn't give up and he couldn't stop trying. until someone came and saw him. And when they saw him, they accused him of mutilating the little girls. At that moment, they made him a demon and put him on death row. They put him on death row amongst other heathens. As he was in there with those heathens, all he could be was what he was. John Coffey. They go to JC. See the symbolatry. John Coffey. Do you see what this myth is about? Do you see what this story is about? Do you see why someone wrote this story, hoping that you would get the point to understand that in this particular story, in this particular part of the myth, there's something about compassion and love that truly makes the Christ in you real. Don't believe the story. Get the point. So John Coffey began to have a heart of those heathens in death row with him. And he began to heal them and pull out their suffering. And one of the first people to truly witness his greatness, and he healed, was a God in there. And that God name was Paul. Now, if you're a Bible believer or understand a following of the story, of the myth, of the legend, of the folklore, you know who Paul was to JC. So in this story of the Green Mile, you have John Coffey and you have Paul. And Paul is witnessing the Son who is full of God's grace and power, who have the ability to pull suffering out of those that experience him. Paul witnessing this. And it's Paul to tell the story. See, I'm talking about the Green Mile. Same way I was talking about Terminator. That's just another JC. This another JC. So in the end, they crucified Big Boy. And Paul said, we have done a crazy major bad thing. And that taught me, man, in that story, what it means to be crucified. When your intentions are pure in love. But when your intentions are pure in love, you will be often misunderstood by those who don't understand. And those that don't understand, when you telling the raw heaven truth, that can't understand, it's because they ain't familiar with being told the story from not in the perspective of sitting Indian style like a child in front of a man talking to them. See, I'm not your preacher. I'm your teacher. Stand your ass up and put your chest out and understand this so you can look down on your children and speak the myths of power within their soul. I had one brother in that conversation say, I want to get where you're going, but I'm confused. I said, well, let me break it down another way. He said, no. I said, well, I'm going to tell you like this. It was about 2:00. I said, everywhere across America, right now, children are in school. I said, and there's a young man sitting in the back of an algebra class that's confused. And if he don't have the pride to say he confused or accept extra help, that young man gonna flunk every test and have an F at the end of the report card. I said, you that young man. And we all can be that young man. But if you ain't here with me tonight, I already know you know. It's real as it gets. Understand the truth, man. We got to elevate, man, and be adults. We got to stop thinking like children. Our great-grandparents. My granddaddy was born in 1920. I'm talking about his mama and daddy. A lot of them couldn't read or write. Us having fluent reading is only about 100 years old. So don't you understand, man, that in our near future, not a long time ago, we've been cultivated to sit upon and sit up and look at somebody who have a superpower that we don't possess. That's reading, man, and telling you the story. You got to stand up and think. And understand what this is all about. This is all about survival. Take away money. Take away the material things. You want to know what the Son of God is to your life? See, I asked my grandparents. They told me what their parents told them and what their parents told them. My grandparents told me when Christmas came, it wasn't about no material thing. They felt blessed if they got a piece of candy cane. So the power and the myth of Santa Claus didn't have nothing and no power and control over their mind. They understood the point of it all. They understood what that story was about. I asked my granddaddy, I said, Granddaddy, did you go to church? He said, my daddy raised me that church was working. Because as long as we stayed at work, that was like us staying at church. And if we stayed at work and we worked enough, we would have money and means to do everything we needed to do. So that's how I served God. I worked. I built. They was in the fields cultivating the land in the sun. Beyond slavery, sharecropping. They had a personal relationship with the sun. They say, why are we so sick? Because we don't understand the point of it all. When our grandparents and parents stayed in the sun and worked in the sun as a means of survival, the sun had certain attributes and effects on their body that made them sweat, that made them do things and experience things that would keep them efficient. Now we are out the sun and we believe and think that the sun is more about what's in the book than what we can hold our head up high and look. Damn, we fucked up by the myth because we don't understand. Damn. So that's why this word myth is powerful to me, man. Because we believe in the myth. I say I don't believe in it because I live in it. I say my homeboy had a baby girl, named her Sabrina. Now Sabrina grown and hooked on dope. My friend wondering where he went wrong, sending prayers to the Lord, saying, please send Sabrina home. I'm telling you, man, you got to stand up as an adult, as a man, and realize, man, it's things out here that's coming at our baby head every day. And if you don't understand what the point of this shit is about, you're going to keep on looking in the book, wanting somebody to save your child and your children. And your children walking past you every day, barely holding on, man. My cousin Terry sent me a movie, say, cuz, you ever saw this movie, They Lived? It's about putting on them glasses and being able to see the truth. I say, yeah, that's real life, cuz. Because when you put them on, you can't take them off. When you see the truth, man, you can't turn it off. So when you see the truth, I'm talking about, man, the truth. I'm talking about, I hear people who tell me, man, I'm going through something with my children, but you know what? I'm going to put it in God's hand. And in my eyes of understanding, I hear the truth. I hear them saying, I can't deal with this shit no more. I ain't going to deal with this shit no more. And I'm not finna be accountable for what happened to my child. So you watch your child walk out that door, man, vulnerable to never come back. And because you playing fairy tale games in a myth way, you giving your babies to the wolves, man, to eat her alive or to eat him alive. So I'm telling all my brothers and sisters, stand your ass up and stop wanting somebody to tell you these stories like you're a child. And understand what this shit is really about. I say I woke up this morning, man, with the intentions of going to work. Not because I want to, because I need to. Work is a means, man, of having the resources to provide for my family, man. Everything and every story of a hero is to prepare me and give me the principles, man, of that character and what he went through. There's a myth about a character called Incredible Hulk. Every time he gets agitated and his ego flares up, he turns into a super being with muscles and tears shit up. Some people can control that. Some people can't. That's what that story is about. There's good men at heart that wasn't properly cultivated and developed emotionally by his parents. He never saw a man deal with discomfort. So now he grown, and every time he get irritated and agitated, he gonna have a balance enough to know that you don't put your anger out in physicality and fight a woman. So he's sitting in domestic class as a monster because he's a child that never developed. He's still looking on somebody to tell him a story while he's sitting Indian style, like he in first grade. Better grow your ass up. Your baby's depending on you. Better stand your ass up and tell the story and be the story. Better stand your ass up. Be real as you can be. And I'm trying my best not to go there about anything about what somebody believe and don't believe. I don't believe in it. I know it. It is as real to you as you real to it. I asked that brother, I say, man, who made your kids? Just to see if he could stand up as a grown man and talk. He said, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ made my kids. So you ain't put that dynamite in that cooler. See how that worked, man. When you refuse to be real, you'll hold on to a myth, just like a child believing in Santa Claus. And if don't nobody around you want to be real, in 2 months there will be arguments all over the world where one group of children in school telling another group of children that Santa Claus ain't real. And those children that saying Santa Claus ain't real have had a conversation with their parents in realness to say, we will give you something, but I want you to understand, I ain't playing no games with your mind and thinking that you receive something from a man other than your father and your mother. And so that little boy don't understand that there's a clause in this here world with the truth. And that little boy will go to school and tell the truth and damn near be crucified. And they will call you as there's a problem. Your child is spoiling the myth within another child's mind. We all children that has gotten old. So when I stand in the playground with grown goddamn men telling them what's real and how we got to fight this fight, and they get so emotional because they need Santa. And ain't nobody told them it's real because you make it real. And if you want to test that, find somebody who don't think it's real and don't think God good and don't think that they in a good space in their life and just evaluate the effort. It ain't real because they don't make it real. And it don't cost nothing to make it real. The only thing it costs to make it real is to pay attention to the moment. And you'll always see it and feel it and know it. And my grandmamas and granddaddies knew it before they knew how to read. I love y'all, man. It's been one of them kind of deep shows. I'm gonna give some shout out. Chris K. Dog, man. I love you, brother. Had you in the green room, man. Green room always powerful, brother. They say real recognize real. I value your attention. Me too, we in the huddle, man. Kamara, you already know what it is. Chad, you already know what it is, man. Hero salute, man. Junior, you already know what it is, man. Y'all be real, man. Look at the myths that entertain your mind. Understand the point of them all, man, so you can be an adult about this shit. I love y'all.